Good morning, everyone. This is Ann Silver, CEO of the Reno-Sparks Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here this morning with Councilman Dare from Sparks, who's here to assist us as we promote the 2020 census through our community conversations.
Thank you, Ann. And you know what, I'll tell you, this is an important time, and it's crazy that it's 2020 anyway. Like in my brain, I go back to, all the years that have gone by. But it is exciting that we get to be a part of this and so involved. But it is important that people really know some of the key details, some of the dates, some of the ways they can help. So that's our goal. And I know we're going to have a few of these videos, and we're going to actually bring on some guest speakers.
Yeah, that's exciting. People from throughout the community who are going to work with us to promote the census.
So just to dive right into it, a couple things that you need to know. We formed a group, the governor's group. It's the Census Board that he put together. I get to serve on that. And that started back in April, and there's been a lot of different people working on it, putting things together and getting things ready. But here's the thing, we are in 2020, and people are going to start getting this information like any day in the mail, and you're going to start seeing more and more stuff up. And so we're hoping that people, and especially our businesses, really truly jump on board. And so April 1st is Census Day, and that's going to be the big day that we try to pull it all together. They'll still have a couple months to kind of pick up the pieces, but it all has to be done by December of this year.
Well, quite frankly, that's a lot of work, and we hope that with our 1,900 plus members, that every chamber member gets involved in ensuring that his or her employees are actively involved in being counted, and that those individuals tell their neighbors and friends and people at their church and in their neighborhood that they should participate in the 2020 census. It is confidential, information is ironclad, it is not a law enforcement exercise, and that it's incredibly important for Nevada that people participate.
It's important you know too, there's only about 10 questions, and there's only one you really have to answer. So this is not one of those probing things they're trying to do. Now, strangely, I've learned that it's all attached to your address. You have to have an address. There's certain things how they use the census and how they do it. But it is crucial that we really look at what has happened and then what kind of our role. Now, what would you say if I said, well, this doesn't really affect me? I mean, why do I care?
Actually, I think it does. And I think I know enough to know how much it affects us.
It definitely. Well, I'll just tell you this. In 2016, obviously, this is just one of the years that we saw how much came in and they watched. Over $6 billion came to the state of Nevada based upon census information.
So it really matters.
And I've heard the numbers of upward to $8 billion could potentially be attached to the state of Nevada if we do if it's right.
And that money, as I recall, is dispersed in all sorts of ways, including for our education system, infrastructure, roads, hospitals.
All the different things. I mean, yes, it definitely does help with some of our situations we have with some homelessness and things like that, but it doesn't just stop there. It has to do with our police, some of our police funding we can get, some different grants that could potentially come our way, but infrastructure is a huge one. Whenever they're making a decision about federal funds coming this way, that census is a huge part of what they do. And then schooling's a big one as well.
Of course, that's nothing's more important than the education of our young people, and it's also hard to count individuals who are out there who may be seniors, college students, our Hispanic population, the Latino community is very key, our children, anyone who has children should be counted, and certainly our veterans, individuals in the community. It may be harder to find, and sometimes those individuals live with families and may not have their own unique address, but we need to reach out to every single person in Nevada.
So in the past, I've heard there's a few different groups that are harder, and I say this, so if you have any of these situations or people or know people in this, one is if anybody has children that are in college. It sounds crazy, but they don't know if they should count them here or there, and they're supposed to be counted where they're at. And that's confusing to some, so we lose count on that all the time.
Don't leave town if you're going to college.
Yes, and then those who have joint custody also is a big one, where people are like, well, who counts them? You know what? You actually could just both count them. And I say that because they'll work on the mix back in the shop.
Interesting.
You don't have to figure out, well, my wife counted them, so I'm not. You need to count your kid. The count, right?
That's important news.
And then also, I'll tell you, it sounds interesting, but our African American population tends to be undercounted every time, and we obviously don't want to undercount anybody. Everyone matters. Now, in the very end, it's not just money that we potentially get. This actually also helps us in the representation when it comes to what happens at the federal level.
We could end up with an additional congressional seat.
It could happen. Now, I can tell you the way it is, it's split up. It's not just our number and they just go off of it. They take all the states that come in, and whoever does the best in counting. So if another state next to us doesn't do as well or whatever, that's benefit to us.
Right.
So the better we do, the more we have finances, the more we have representation, and the more it comes together. Now here's the interesting thing this year that I'm kind of excited about, but it's kind of like almost a, let's see how this goes. This is the first census that's going to be online. It's a high-tech census.
All right, about time.
Oh yeah, it's good. It is, but at the same time you go, that's a lot of moving parts.
Absolutely.
But they're pretty organized. A lot of things that I've seen, they're working hard on it. They have a lot of different things. And so you definitely will have still people going to the doors if people aren't registered online and things like that. But they have it all set up, and I'm interested to see how it all comes out. But I do know there's online, and it is very protected. They have all of the people working on it, and so it's important that people understand that.
So I think what you're saying is you might get a knock on your door.
You might get a knock on your door, but that's only if you didn't do your registration online.
Okay.
And then it will come in the mail. That's another way people can mail stuff in or call it in, I believe.
Call, mail, answer the door, or
Yeah.
go online. Those are pretty easy ways.
And they're trying to make it possible for everybody. But here's, if I had a message to start kind of our conversations and the ones to come, we need everybody. That's everybody to think this is important, and then to put time to it. So if you're a business owner, whether it's what you do,
Sure.
and when you help us with all our businesses, what I do as a city official, or anybody, we need to make sure that we are actively using the relationships we have just to put people in the right direction. We are never going to be asked to take the census for somebody. Okay, they have census workers to do that. We will never, ever sit back and make it to where we have to be the ones getting information, collecting to turn it in. No one should do that. There are professionals and people being paid to do that. As a matter of fact, if someone comes to someone asks you to do that, they're lying to you. Don't do that. But you have a very important role.
We are going to make sure that every chamber member takes the census, make sure its employees take the census, and we'll continue to promote the 2020 census in all of our publications.
Well, we look forward to seeing you next time. We just wanted to give you an intro of what was happening. We're going to have some guest speakers talking about different reasons that we think it's important, what they see, and just answer as many questions as we can. But it's all beginning, and April comes very quick. April 1st, this is done.
Amazing.
So we're like, bam, bam, and then we have the census done in our hope, so everything gets rolling.
Well, don't be a fool on April Fool's Day. Make sure you've taken the census.
There you go. Well, thank you, and we'll see you next week.